My manager accepted an award for my work while my phone screamed that the system was actively failing. The ballroom lights at the Meridian Harbor Hotel made every executive look like a polished trophy. Silver chandeliers, white linen, a stage big enough for egos to do cartwheels. I sat at table 19 with the people who actually kept things running, quietly chewing chicken that tasted like it had been punished for existing. On stage, Serena Dale stood at the podium with a smile sharp enough to open a letter. Serena was my director at Kestrel Ridge Logistics, and she was currently receiving the Aurora Prism Award for Operational Innovation. Her name was on the plaque. Her photo was on the screen. Her speech was already practicing its victory lap. Behind my water glass, my phone vibrated again. Then again. Then again. 3 alerts in a row from our monitoring dashboard. Not a polite ping. A full red flare. The kind of warning that normally sent me into sprint mode while everyone else debated whether a meeting should have an agenda. Serena lifted the award like she had personally forged it from leadership. This past year, my team delivered the Sterling Loom integration, she said, pausing for applause. It was a high-stakes transformation, and I am proud to say we achieved frictionless alignment across systems. Frictionless alignment. That was Serena vocabulary for. Maya Rivera stayed awake and did not let the platform collapse. My phone flashed a headline I recognized immediately. Loom bridge, packet loss spike. Then the subtext. Address normalization failing. Then the number that made my stomach go cold. 12,480 orders in queue. The Loom bridge was my custom workflow. It stitched together 3 legacy systems and one shiny new portal the executives loved to tour. If address normalization failed, shipments did not just pause. They went to the wrong places. Thousands of boxes chasing the wrong doors like confused pigeons. Serena was still talking. I want to thank our leadership council for trusting me to guide strategy. Trusting her. Right. I looked around my table. People were clapping because clapping is safer than asking questions. My colleague Ben Park stared at his bread roll like it had betrayed him. Across the room, the CFO nodded in slow satisfaction, as if pride could reboot a server. My phone vibrated again. The alert escalated. Critical. Duplicate destination keys. I stood up. Not with a grand flourish. Not with a dramatic gasp. I simply rose, tapped my fork against my glass once, and felt the room turn toward me in a wave of startled curiosity. The sound was not loud, but it cut through the applause like a scalpel through cake. Serena froze mid-smile. I lifted my phone slightly, just enough for the front tables to notice the red. Serena, I said, calm as a receipt, before you finish celebrating frictionless alignment, the Sterling Loom integration is currently rejecting shipments and duplicating destination keys. Silence hit the room so hard I could hear the air conditioning reconsider its career choices. Serena laughed a small laugh that sounded like a door lock. Maya, this is not the time. It is exactly the time, I said, still polite, still even. Because those orders are real, and the trucks do not care about awards. A few heads turned toward the IT table. Someone coughed. Someone whispered my name like it was a weather warning. Serena recovered, because Serena always recovered. Thank you for your enthusiasm, she said into the microphone, voice sweet with threat. We will address operational questions during business hours. I sat back down. My hands did not shake. They should have. 7 years ago, I would have apologized for breathing too loudly in a conference room. But I was 41 now. I had a teenage son who could smell corporate nonsense from the hallway. And I was done being the quiet person who fixed everything after the loud people took credit. Ben leaned toward me. You just lit a match in a room full of gasoline. I did not light anything, I said. I pointed at the smoke. My phone pinged again, and this time it was not an alert. It was a calendar invite. Subject: Leadership Alignment Discussion. Time: tomorrow, 8 a.m. Location: Glass Conference Room, 3B. Organizer: Serena Dale. Ben read over my shoulder and winced. That is not a discussion. That is a warning. I stared at the invite. My mind ran through possibilities like a checklist. Maybe she would threaten me. Maybe she would charm me. Maybe she would try to make me feel small again. My phone buzzed one more time. A private message from a recruiter I had ignored for weeks. Heliovale Analytics. Final offer ready. Call me tonight. I looked back at the stage where Serena was still holding my award like a hostage. Fine, I thought. If Serena wanted alignment, I would give her alignment, perfectly, precisely. And in a way she would never forget. Show up tomorrow, my calendar seemed to whisper. Bring the truth. I arrived at Glass Conference Room 3B at 7:58 a.m. because punctuality is one of the few virtues corporations reward consistently. The room smelled like citrus cleaning spray and overconfidence. Floor-to-ceiling glass. A sleek table that made everyone sit upright like mannequins. A wall screen that never worked unless I touched it. Serena was already there, perched in her chair like she was waiting to deliver a verdict. Her laptop was open. A thin folder sat beside it. The kind of folder HR loved. The kind that looked like it could contain either a promotion or a funeral. Maya, she said, voice bright, smile carefully approved by whatever part of her brain handled manipulation. Thank you for coming early. I came on time, I said, sitting down. Early is what you call it when you want it for free. Her smile twitched. Strike one. Serena slid a document across the table. Let us address last night. That was unusual. Unusual. Like a system failure at a gala. Like a manager accepting an award for a bridge that was collapsing. I did not think you would want loom shipments sent to the wrong cities, I said. Serena pressed her fingertips together. We will handle loom internally. I tried, I said. The alerts went to the distribution list. Nobody responded. The ballroom responded faster. She leaned back, switching tactics. Maya, you are brilliant in the details. Nobody disputes that. But leadership requires discretion, presence, composure. There it was, the holy trinity of corporate rejection. Discretion, presence, composure. Words you could use to deny anything without admitting fear. Serena lifted the folder and tapped it lightly. Now, about the role you requested. My pulse stayed steady. That surprised me. I had expected my heart to try to escape my chest like a panicked intern. Instead, I felt calm. The kind of calm that arrives when you realize you already know the outcome. Serena continued. The senior operations lead position is not available for you at this time. At this time, I repeated. Meaning never, but you want me to keep hoping. She gave a patient sigh, like I had asked why gravity existed. It is not personal. It is about optics. The board wants someone who can represent the department with executive polish. And yet, I said, you gave me Loombridge and the Ironglide rollout for Cobalt Meridian Freight. Both are high risk. Both are high revenue. Both require actual work, not polish. Serena nodded quickly, as if agreement could substitute for fairness. Yes, that is why I need you to lead the Cobalt Meridian launch. It is a $12 million annual partnership. We announce next week. I need the integration plan, the risk register, the vendor alignment, and the contingency playbook. She said it like she was listing groceries. And in return, I asked, I receive what exactly? Serena smiled. Visibility. I let the silence stretch until it became uncomfortable. Serena hated silence because silence did not clap. Silence did not flatter. Silence made room for facts. Finally, I spoke. Visibility is what you call exposure when you do not want to pay for it. Serena's eyes narrowed. Maya, do not do something impulsive because you are disappointed. Impulsive, like accepting an award while your system failed, like calling my concern an inconvenience. I opened my bag and placed a single sheet of paper on the table. Serena blinked. What is that? My resignation, I said, voice even. 2 weeks' notice, effective today. Her expression cracked for half a second, revealing real panic underneath. Stop. You are being dramatic. I am being accurate, I said. If I am not polished enough to lead, then I am not the person to carry your highest revenue launch. Serena pushed the paper back toward me like it was contagious. We can talk about a retention bonus. I do not want a leash, I said. I want a job where credit and compensation live on the same planet. Serena leaned forward, voice low. You are making a mistake. This industry remembers. So do clients, I said. Her jaw tightened. If you leave now, you will abandon your team. I thought of the team, the ones who called me only when they needed a miracle, the ones who went home on time while I stayed to keep the pipelines breathing, the ones who laughed at Serena jokes because it was easier than learning the system. I am not abandoning anyone, I said. I am returning the department to the skill level the department actually invested in. Serena stared at me, searching for guilt, like it was a missing file. She did not find it. She switched again, quick as a magician hiding a card. Fine. If you insist on leaving, you will spend 2 weeks ensuring a smooth handover, full documentation, full training. I nodded. I will follow policy exactly. Serena exhaled with relief, misunderstanding the sentence completely. She thought policy meant I would keep saving her. She did not understand that policy was a cage she had built for me, and I was about to make her live inside it. As I stood to leave, Serena added, And Maya, the loom bridge issue from last night. Keep quiet about it. We do not want unnecessary attention. I paused at the door. Unnecessary attention is when something is fine. Loom is not fine. Serena's voice sharpened. Just fix it. I turned back, smiling pleasantly. Submit a change request. Follow the process. Her eyes widened. That will take days. Yes, I said. It will. I walked out of Glass Conference Room 3B and felt something inside me loosen, like a knot finally admitting it was tired. In the hallway, my phone buzzed. The recruiter again. Heliovale Analytics. Can you talk now? I stared at the message, then at the office floor beyond the glass, where people were already moving like ants around a broken picnic. Serena had called me unready. Fine. I was about to show her what ready looked like when the safety net walked away, and the first snap of that net had already begun. By 9:10 a.m., the office sounded different. It was not louder exactly. It was sharper, like the building had developed teeth. I sat at my desk and opened a blank handover document titled Transition Guide, Maya Rivera. I wrote in full sentences. I used bullet points. I added screenshots. I did not add shortcuts. For 7 years, my real job had been invisible. I ran quiet scripts that made late invoices reconcile. I adjusted routing tables when the warehouse scanners went feral. I restarted the loom bridge by hand when it woke up on the wrong side of reality. None of that was in any official procedure because official procedures were written by people who believed printers fix themselves through positive thinking. Today, I did not do any of it. At 9:22, an email thread ignited like a match. Subject: Urgent. Loom shipments duplicating destinations. Sender: Finance lead. Tagged Serena. Tagged IT. Tagged Operations. Tagged the CFO. Tagged a vice president whose name was mostly used as a threat. I read it. I recognized the error pattern. I knew the fix. It would take me 3 minutes and one quiet login. The email was not assigned to me. My name was not in the to-line. It was on the general distribution list, because the company loved assigning responsibility to crowds. I archived it. At 9:30, Ben appeared at my cubicle wall, face pale, carrying a coffee like it was a stress ball. Maya, he whispered, tell me you are fixing Loom. I am writing the transition guide, I said, typing. Ben stared. The queue is climbing. Serena is losing her mind. She can submit a change request, I said. Ben swallowed. She is going to come over here. I know, I said. At 9:47, Serena arrived, heels clicking with the rhythm of consequences. Her hair was perfect. Her eyes were not. Maya, she said, clipped. Why is Loom still failing? I looked up slowly, like a very polite predator. Has a ticket been assigned to me? Serena blinked, genuinely offended by the concept of procedure applying to her. You know what the problem is. Yes, I said. But I also know the compliance memo you sent last quarter. The one about strict adherence to change controls. The one you copied the board on. Serena leaned closer, voice low. Do not hide behind bureaucracy. I am not hiding, I said. I am standing exactly where you told me to stand. Inside policy. Her nostrils flared. Fix it now. I cannot, I said calmly. Not without written authorization. I am in my notice period. Liability matters. The word liability landed like a brick. She knew. She knew exactly how many times I had quietly broken policy to keep her reports clean. Serena straightened, scanning the open office. People were watching like they had front row seats to a slow-motion train collision. Everyone, she snapped, clapping her hands once. War room, conference room 2A, now. An hour later, 12 adults sat around a table trying to solve a problem that required one competent person and 3 minutes of access. The IT manager suggested rebooting, finance suggested yelling, a project coordinator suggested creating a shared spreadsheet, because spreadsheets are how corporations prey. Serena drew arrows on the whiteboard. The arrows went nowhere, which somehow matched her leadership style perfectly. I sat quietly and took notes. 10:14 a.m. Hypothesis, network congestion. 10:31 a.m. Hypothesis, user error. 10:52 a.m. Hypothesis, Mercury retrograde. At 11:07, someone finally found my old Loom Bridge playbook on the internal wiki. It was dated 2 years ago. It had been unread for exactly 2 years. The IT manager squinted at it. It says address normalization table is missing a mapping key. Yes, I said. So we just add the key, he said. Yes, I said. How? He asked. I pointed to the document. Step 3. He frowned. Step 3 references a system path I cannot access. Serena whipped her head toward me. Maya, why do you have access and nobody else does? Because I asked, I said, repeatedly, in writing, for redundancy. Serena's face tightened. She was watching her own negligence crawl across the table in broad daylight. At 11:22, the IT manager got temporary access through a security admin who clearly hated joy. He added the key. Loom stabilized in 2 minutes. The room deflated like a balloon that realized it had been wasting oxygen. Serena forced a smile. Great. Teamwork. This is why alignment matters. I made eye contact with Ben. His expression said, she is allergic to accountability. By 12:05, I was back at my desk writing the transition guide. Not the secret guide, the real guide. The one that assumed the reader would follow every official step and suffer every official delay. At 12:18, my phone buzzed again. Not Loom, not Serena. A call from an unknown number. I answered. This is Maya. A steady voice replied. Maya Rivera, this is Owen Grady from Cobalt Meridian Freight. Cobalt Meridian, the client Serena wanted to impress. My stomach went still. Owen continued. We were informed the integration plan is on track, but we just received a shipment test file with duplicated destinations. That does not look on track. I stared at my screen. Serena had told the client everything was fine. Owen said, I have a question, Maya, off the record. Are we in trouble? I looked at the transition guide, at the policies, at the rules. Then I looked at the calendar. 2 weeks left. And I realized the revenge was not going to be loud. It was going to be clean. Owen, I said carefully, I can tell you what the logs say. There was a pause. I would prefer that. I inhaled once, slow. Then we need to talk. Today. I did not call Serena. I did not warn her. I did not ask permission, because permission was how my work got stolen in the first place. I booked a small conference room with a neutral name, Room 1C, and invited Owen Grady from Cobalt Meridian Freight to a video call through the official client channel. I also invited our compliance lead and a junior analyst named Tessa Lynn, because Tessa could type meeting minutes faster than gossip could spread. If the company wanted executive presence, I would give it to them in the only language executives truly respected: documentation. At 2 p.m., Owen appeared on screen. Mid-40s, calm eyes, the expression of a person who had already watched 3 vendors fail and was not interested in a fourth. Maya, he said, thank you for making time. Of course, I said. I prefer reality to reassurance. Owen exhaled, grateful. Serena told us the integration is stable. I nodded. Serena told the ballroom that too. A faint smile tugged at his mouth. So it was not stable. It is stable now, I said, because the missing mapping key was restored. But the important question is why it was missing. Owen leaned forward. Exactly. I shared my screen and pulled up the changelog. A list of adjustments over the past 6 weeks. Small edits, quiet edits. The kind that looked harmless until a truck drove into them. These changes, I said, highlighting 3 entries, reduced sync frequency and disabled a validation step. That is why duplicates appeared. Owen frowned. Why would anyone disable validation? I kept my voice neutral. The change request note says it was done to reduce cloud processing costs. The compliance lead shifted in her chair. Tessa kept typing, eyes locked on her keyboard like she was recording a storm. Owen stared at the log. Was this tested? No, I said. There is no staging record attached. Owen went silent for a beat, the way people go silent when they realize the ground is not solid. Who approved this? I did not say Serena's name. I did not need to. The approval line was right there. Owen's jaw tightened. Maya. I want someone technical leading this partnership, someone who actually reads these logs. I let the silence do the work. Silence was my best witness. The compliance lead cleared her throat. We can escalate internally. Owen's eyes stayed on me. Maya, are you the person who built the loom bridge? Yes, I said. And are you the person who usually prevents issues like this before they touch clients? Yes, I said again. Owen nodded once, decisive. Then I want you designated as technical authority on this integration until go live. I want your approval required for any change that impacts validation. My pulse stayed steady, but something inside me sharpened into a point. That authority, I said, belongs to leadership here. Owen did not blink. Then leadership can either grant it, or we can discuss alternate vendors. The compliance lead inhaled like she had swallowed a paperclip. At 2:11, the conference room door opened behind me. Serena walked in. She did not knock. Serena never knocked. She believed doors were for people without power. Her smile arrived first, glossy and false. Owen, wonderful to see you. I was not aware we had a call scheduled. Owen looked directly at her. That is the problem. You were not aware. Serena's smile wavered. Maya is in transition. We appreciate her support, but I am leading the program. Owen's voice cooled. Maya just showed me your approval on untested changes that cause duplicate destinations. Do not tell me you are leading. Tell me you are learning. Serena stiffened. Those were minor optimization tweaks. Minor, Owen repeated, is what you call a mistake before it becomes a lawsuit. Serena's eyes flicked to me, a warning disguised as professionalism. Maya, you should not be sharing internal logs without alignment. I shared them with compliance present and minutes recorded, I said. That is alignment. Serena's cheeks flushed. You are undermining management. I kept my tone light, almost kind. I am underlining consequences. Owen leaned back. Here are my terms. Maya Rivera is technical authority for the next 48 hours of integration planning. If she recommends reverting a change, you revert. If she recommends additional resources, you fund them. If you decline, we will consider Heliovale Analytics as our primary partner for strategic forecasting instead of Kestrel Ridge. The name landed like a hammer. Heliovale was the company that had been courting me. Serena froze, as if someone had unplugged her. Owen continued, calm as a verdict. Do we have an understanding? Serena opened her mouth. Nothing came out. The compliance lead spoke, voice tight. We understand. We will formalize the authority structure immediately. Owen nodded once. Good. Maya, I will send you our access tokens and the data spec. I want a clean integration plan by tomorrow morning. I will deliver it, I said. Owen smiled, small but real. That is what I wanted to hear. The call ended. Serena stared at me like I had stolen her oxygen. What did you do? I held a meeting, I said. You embarrassed me in front of a client, she snapped. I tilted my head. You embarrassed you in front of a client. I brought a flashlight. Serena stepped closer, voice low and poisonous. You think you won. I met her eyes. No, I think you finally started playing the game you designed. Her hands clenched. You are still employed here for 2 more weeks. Do not forget that. I do not forget contracts, I said. That is why the company worked. Serena spun and left, heels striking the floor like punctuation. Tessa looked up from her notes, eyes wide. Maya, that was surgical. I closed my laptop slowly. That is the goal. My phone buzzed again, and this time it was an email with a subject line that made my lips curve into something sharp and satisfied. Heliovale Analytics. Offer letter attached. Director of Systems Strategy. I opened it. Beneath salary and benefits was a clause highlighted in yellow. Authority to decline client engagements that compromise system integrity. They did not call it executive presence, they called it respect. And tomorrow morning, Serena would wake up to find out that my revenge was no longer about proving I was valuable. It was about proving she was replaceable. The next morning, Kestrel Ridge Logistics felt like a building holding its breath. I arrived at 8:30 a.m., not early, not late, just precisely on time, and walked past the reception desk where the security guard gave me a look that said, "People are whispering your name like it is a weather forecast." At my desk, I opened a new file. Cobalt Meridian Integration Plan, Stabilization Edition. I wrote it like a person who had nothing to prove and everything to control. Clear steps, hard requirements, no flattering language, no corporate perfume. At 9 o'clock, the executive vice president, Malcolm Voss, called an emergency meeting in the largest boardroom. Serena sat near the front, face carefully composed, but her eyes were raw around the edges. She had slept poorly. I could tell because her confidence had stopped bouncing and started cracking. Malcolm began with the tone of someone who believed volume was leadership. I am hearing concerns from Cobalt Meridian Freight, he said, glaring at the room. Concerns about our operational integrity, about change controls, about who has authority. Serena leaned forward quickly. We have it handled. Maya acted outside process, and I am addressing that internally. Malcolm turned his gaze toward me. Maya Rivera. You resigned, and yet clients are asking for you by name. I nodded. Yes. Serena's voice sharpened. She is using the client relationship to force power. It is inappropriate. Inappropriate, I repeated softly, tasting the word like it was a stale mint. Serena, you accepted an award for a system that was failing in real time. That seems more inappropriate. A ripple moved through the room. Someone coughed. Someone looked down at their notebook like it contained a trapdoor. Malcolm's jaw tightened. Enough. Maya, did you share internal logs with the client? I shared logs relevant to the incident, I said. Compliance was present. Minutes were recorded. The client requested root cause. I provided root cause. Serena cut in. You exposed internal strategy. I looked at Malcolm. Internal strategy should not involve disabling validation without testing to save costs. Malcolm stiffened. He glanced at Serena. Serena did not blink, which was not confidence. It was panic pretending to be posture. Malcolm cleared his throat. We made decisions to manage expenses. Expenses, I said, are what you manage when you do not want to manage risk. Silence again. That beautiful, merciless silence. Then Malcolm said the sentence Serena had been dreading. Maya, Cobalt Meridian demanded you be given technical authority. Temporarily. Serena inhaled sharply. I already have it, I said. In writing, from compliance, effective yesterday. Malcolm's eyes flicked to the compliance lead, who nodded reluctantly. Serena snapped. This is ridiculous. She is leaving. We should not build our authority structure around someone who is walking out. I smiled, small and polite. We should not build our authority structure around someone who cannot read a changelog. Serena's face flushed. You are insubordinate. Malcolm raised a hand. Serena, stop. That was the moment the room shifted. Not because Malcolm suddenly respected me, but because Malcolm suddenly feared the consequences of not respecting me. Fear was the closest thing to honesty in that building. Malcolm turned back to me. What do you want? I could have asked for money. I could have asked for a title. I could have asked for Serena jobs served on a platter with a side of apology. Instead, I said, I want two things. First, formal documentation that the validation step was disabled under Serena approval and without staging review. Second, confirmation that I am not responsible for any outcomes tied to those changes unless my written recommendations are ignored. The compliance lead swallowed, then nodded. We can do that. Serena's mouth opened. You cannot do that. Malcolm looked at her like she had become a problem in a spreadsheet. We can do that. Serena's eyes went to me, full of venom. You are destroying this department. I kept my voice calm. No, I am revealing it. After the meeting, my inbox filled with urgent messages. Not from teammates asking how I was, from leaders asking where the keys were, how the scripts worked, why the system did not obey their optimism. I replied with links to official procedures. I did not reply with miracles. At 1 p.m., Owen Grady called again. Maya, he said, your plan is the first plan we have seen from Kestrel Ridge that does not smell like marketing. I smiled. Thank you. Owen continued. I have another question. Are you staying there? No, I said. A pause. Where are you going? I looked at the Helio Vale offer letter open on my screen. Director of Systems Strategy. Authority, integrity clause, respect spelled out in ink. I am going to Helio Vale Analytics, I said. Owen exhaled, like he had been waiting to hear it. Good. Then I will be direct. We want Helio Vale to handle our forecasting and strategic core. The portion Kestrel Ridge keeps fumbling. We want you leading it. My stomach warmed, not with shock, but with inevitability. Owen, you should talk to Helio Vale leadership. I will, he said. But I wanted you to know why. We are not buying logos. We are buying competence. The same truth, said by someone who actually meant it. That afternoon, a company-wide email went out from Malcolm. Subject: Leadership Realignment, Operations Division. Serena Dale was being reassigned to a non-client-facing role, effective immediately. It was corporate language for, the stage is closed. I packed my desk at 5 p.m. My son Lucas texted me from school. Are we still getting noodles tonight? I texted back. Yes, extra dumplings. Celebration dinner. In the lobby, the big screen displayed a news ticker from an industry outlet. It scrolled through partnerships and acquisitions like gossip. Then it stopped. Breaking. HelioVale Analytics announces expanded partnership with Cobalt Meridian Freight. A photo appeared. Owen shaking hands with a HelioVale executive, and there, at the edge of the frame, was me. Not posed, not polished, just calm, ready. Malcolm walked into the lobby and saw the screen. He stared, coffee forgotten in his hand. Serena was nowhere in sight. Malcolm looked at me, voice quiet. If you ever want to come back, we can make room. Any terms. I held my box of desk items, light as a life returned to its owner. Malcolm, I said gently, the company did not lose me when I resigned. The company lost me when it decided Serena deserved my work more than I did. He had no answer. He did not deserve one. I stepped outside into the evening air, pulled my coat tighter, and felt something rare settle into my bones. Not revenge like fire, revenge like freedom. Because the best payback was not watching Serena fall. It was watching my worth finally land exactly where it belonged, without asking anyone for permission.